Hey guys, sorry I haven't been making videos in a while. I have actually been working on a little bit of projects. And if you've noticed that I'm a little stuffy, I kind of have a slight cold, but it's not a big deal. So, let's get to the point. Just saw Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. So yeah, the blue blur finally is in the big screen. So a lot of people are liking it, and it's doing well in the box office. Yeah, surprisingly enough, a video game movie, #1 in the box office. Okay, I know that Tomb Raider did that, but like this is even bigger, like way, way bigger. And not only that, this is getting critical acclaim. A lot of people love this movie. A lot of people are going crazy. Maybe there's some people who don't like it, but whatever. Like, I just gotta ask, have we finally did it? Have we finally cracked the code? I mean, we've already had like two video game movies being Detective Pikachu in this movie, have we finally cracked the code of good video game movies? Well, I'm here to give you my opinion on, well, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So yeah, what's my opinion on the film? So, first off, wanted to let you know I am a good enough Sonic fan. Like I've played the Genesis games, I played a lot of the 3D games. I may have looked into the comic book like maybe once or twice, but never really seen a lot of the Archie comics or heck even the new IDW comic, which I actually do plan on reading soon. I've watched pretty much every single one of the cartoons, including Boom, Sad AM, that original Adventure Sonic the Hedgehog, and a lot of them. But yeah, so I know at least a lot of what Sonic is about, and I know how many people treat them. I know how toxic the Sonic fan base is, but I still consider I'm more of a Mario fan than a Sonic fan, but I still do like Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a cool character. I do like his adventures. I like a lot of the good games. So yeah. So personally, what did I think about it? Well, for one thing, I did technically do a Stardust reaction to it already, but I felt like I want to talk about it a little bit more. So I think basically what's the main story? So it basically involves, basically the beginning of the movie involves Sonic the Hedgehog basically doing a 90s cliche where he's just like, so, have you ever seen like Ratatouille? It just basically starts out like that. Like, so, how did I get here? How did I get being chased by this guy who looks like an egg? And then basically he throws you in and we see green hills. And so then after we enter Green Hills, we're introduced to like his mother Longclaw, which I think that they're pretty much going for a much more origin story for this movie. Uh, yeah, so basically this is a new origin story for Sonic. I mean, there's been a bunch of origin stories of him, but like this is a brand new one. You see him as a little baby, but then you see this realistic looking owl. This realistic looking owl character, and I started to wonder, yeah, I now realize why the original design was that way, and I'm not really going to talk about the controversy or anything, or honestly, because I think that's been said to death already, so I'm not even going to continue on without it, with that. But so yeah, the redesign is cool. I'm glad they did the redesign. That's all I have to say. So Sonic is then, and Longclaw, basically his mother figure, are attacked by basically the Echidna tribe, which is basically Knuckles' tribe in the movie. He is chased out. She gets like stabbed with a gosh damn arrow, and so Sonic basically escapes into the real world basically as a child, and then 10 years go by and he's a teenager, and he's the most recognizable character that we all know, Sonic the Hedgehog. He basically interacts with human beings. He meets James Marsden character, which he calls Donut Lord. And so basically at one point he's just basically trying to go into a baseball game, just hitting bad, and then he somehow, is upset about something. He's upset that he has no friends and goes around and basically causes an explosion of electricity that basically turns the electricity of the entire town down. And so there was a blackout, and so now Dr. Eggman is chasing after Sonic the Hedgehog, and now he joins in with James Marsden characters, and they basically go on a road trip adventure. And yeah, I'm not going to say much there, but I am going to be warning about spoilers for the movie, but that was my phone. My ringtone is the Sonic ring. That's funny. But okay, so I'm not going to go into major spoilers, but I will talk about the good and the bad and like what I think of the film overall. So basically, what do I think? Yeah, I think it's a good movie. Not great, but I think it's good enough. So how do I put this? If you're like a very, very hardcore Sonic fan, like if you love Sonic, you love the comics, you love the video games, you love the TV shows, you're gonna love this movie. Like no matter what, any major or even, you know, good enough Sonic fan is going to love this movie. And family and kids are gonna like this movie fine to take, you know, parents are gonna take these with their kids and stuff. They won't mind this movie. Honestly, to me, this is a family film. There's nothing big. It's definitely not going for that PG-13 rating because, you know, being Sonic the Hedgehog, he's a teenager. But no, it's just basically a family movie. That's basically how to put it out. It's a family movie. You can enjoy it. Fans will enjoy it. And maybe some people won't like it as much. And I think I know the majority of people who possibly, like, I think you've possibly heard a few people say that they don't like this film and they say it's possibly a really, really bad movie. But in my honest opinion, I think it's more of the fact that, like, it's more of the fact that the reason why they don't is because I think they're more disappointed rather than the film being bad. I mean, most of them just say the film is okay, and I think I understand that reason, because they obviously were expecting something better, but you have to understand that we've had a shit ton of bad video game movies. There have been so many bad video game movies for over the years. Like, I don't think there's like so much to count, and like, you could argue that Detective Pikachu and this movie are basically baby steps. They are baby steps, kind of like the first X-Men movie, kind of like one of the few Marvel movies that were actually good, like the first Spider-Man movie, or even the first X-Men movie. They are baby steps in like trying to become really good video game movies. And honestly, they're off to a nice start. Like, it's a good starting point. You know, they're getting better. They're not like, this wasn't like one of the worst movies to look at. I mean, with the original design, possibly it would have been. But this was a charming, good, you know, family-friendly adventure with the character Sonic the Hedgehog. And I have to give him applause for that. Alright, now getting to the positives. Like, I really love the special effects in this movie. The special effects in this movie is so good. Like, the way they made Sonic interacting with human beings, it's kind of like Roger Rabbit in a sense. Like, even though he's not really there, you feel like he's there. And, you know, when, you know, every character's talking to him, it does feel like that they're actually interacting with Sonic, and it's really, really good. I really, really do love that, you know. Ben Schwartz as Sonic, yeah, he was really funny. I really did enjoy, you know, a lot of, you know, his humor, you know. But I think the problem is his voice. I mean, it's just basically his regular voice. It kind of reminds me of the Ninja Turtles voice he's doing for Rise of the Ninja Turtles, you know, Dewey from DuckTales. It's just like, you know, he has such a recognizable voice that it's easy to know, like, what he's saying. Like, it's Ben Schwartz. It's his voice. James Marsden, not being the first time he's interacted with a fictional character, honestly, he had a good connection with Sonic. I feel like their friendship was actually very, you know, believable. It definitely worked. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. Now, you're either going to like or hate this performance. If you've never liked Jim Carrey in his 90s, over-the-top, funny Jim Carrey-ness, you know, then you're obviously not going to like his performance as Dr. Eggman. But if you like that, if you love Jim Carrey and know about how he acts, like, yeah, you're going to love it. You're going to freaking love it. Like, you know, and honestly, I thought Jim Carrey was funny, and definitely a different interpretation of Dr. Robotnik. I mean, he pretty much does the over-the-top things that Dr. Robotnik does in the video games, and even sometimes in the TV show. Like, he's funny, he does all these crazy things, he's moving around, and yeah, that's basically Jim Carrey, but at the same time, he definitely does a good Dr. Robotnik. Anything else? Yeah, I thought that the uniqueness that they tried to do inventive things like, for one, like, you know how, if you've seen in the trailers, you can see that Sonic uses the rings not as health, but basically throwing the rings and, you know, transporting in portals, which honestly were in the games, they were in the comic books, and that, I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the bar scene, and if anyone knows what the bar scene is who's seen the movie, yeah, that was a really, like, you know, funny scene. There's even, like, honestly, this is really a spoiler, but there's this one scene where this big tough guy, you know, comes in and he's just like, we don't like your kind. And Sonic's just like, wait, seriously, come on, guys, can't we just get along? I'm just like, no, you know why? And he's just like, why? And just like, because you're hipsters. I'm just like, and Sonic's just like, oh, how dare you? And honestly, that made me laugh really hard. That was a really funny joke right there. That was a really funny joke, and like, and then he does basically after there's like a bar fight, and Sonic basically does the same thing Quicksilver does in Days of Future Past. If you've seen that movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's pretty damn fun. So now I think that's mostly for the positives. So the negatives. I don't really think of these much as negatives, more like nitpicks, but there are some that I, you know, dislike. For one thing, I think the one thing that's going to really set off people is the fact that this is a very basic story. It's just a basic road trip movie, Sonic trying to make a friend, and it follows a bunch of 90s cliches. Like, if you're fine with 90s cliches, then you're gonna like this movie fine. But there is nothing unique about the story. This is like your basic, like, character coming from a real world scenario. But I definitely wouldn't compare it to something like Alvin and the Chipmunks or the Smurf. Oh no, those movies are way worse. Not only that, but I do like the fact that, like, they actually focus on Sonic. There's a good amount of time where they focus on Sonic, unlike those other movies where they just focus on the side plot of the human characters all the time. And so, yeah, I'm so glad that it's a movie where it finally focuses on the actual character. You know, the title character of the gosh damn movie. But like I said, if you don't like 90s cliches, you're not going to like this movie. I think another nitpick I have is, like, some of the jokes. Like, I can say that some of the jokes didn't work. Understandably so. I did find a bunch of the jokes funny, but some of them didn't work. I can't really name one, but, like, basically there's a bunch of humor that goes around the middle of the movie, and, you know, I'm not into, like, there's a scene where Sonic's in the car and he's trying to, like, not do something, you know, do something crazy with his speed. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't felt it was that funny. But yeah, maybe I didn't like some of the side characters. I felt they were kind of bland, but honestly, it works. It works. It works. So yeah, I think that's all my negatives at this point. But overall, yeah, I found it a solid film. Like I said, it's not the best film out there. It's definitely not going to win any Oscars anytime soon. It's not going to be like anything. But if you're looking for a fun movie, if you like, or at least like video game characters, or if you kind of like have a soft spot for Sonic the Hedgehog, then you'll enjoy this film. But if you've never liked the character or never really paid attention to it, honestly, you're not going to even see the movie anyway, so why on earth would you go see it? But like I said, if it's not your thing, then I completely understand. So yeah, I want to get into basically the spoilers, but honestly, there's really not much spoilers to it. So the film pretty much ends in this epic climax, this really big epic climax where, Dr. Robotnik, Jim Carrey, is fighting off Sonic in the town, and then Sonic basically has these Chaos Emerald power. Like, it feels like he just got the Chaos Emeralds or something, but he doesn't turn, you know, yellow, he turns blue. It's like this electric spark of electricity blue, not the kind of power, you know, kind of like Dragon Ball something, Dragon Ball Super Saiyan Sonic or something. But it's more that he has electricity going through him, and he's about to take down Eggman with a homing attack, and basically he sends him off into the, you know, into the Mushroom Hill Zone. Not, a lot of people say that's referencing Mario, but honestly, it's not. It's the Mushroom Hill Zone from like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And so after he gets sent out, now Sonic's living in the real world with James Marsden's character and James Marsden's character's wife. Yeah, so basically a lot of things. Yeah, so basically now Sonic's in the real world now. And then basically we get an after credits scene, and I want to tell you right now, the credits to this movie, I got to admit, compared to every other video game movie that doesn't even give a shit about like what they're making, the credits scene in this movie is beautiful. Like the way, just the animation, just how much it's clear that the people who made this movie really cared about Sonic. I love the credit scene. So we get two mid-credit scenes. One being where we see Jim Carrey, Jim Carrey's Eggman, of course. We see him in the Mushroom Hill Zone. He's trapped there, but he still has one of Sonic's quills. So he somehow feels like he'll be able to get back, and he basically looks like Dr. Eggman, Now, it's just, he's still, I mean, he's not like Eggman, like he's not big or anything, but he's like a skinny version of like Dr. Robotnik Eggman, He has the bald head now, he has the big mustache, he has the goggles. Yeah, he looks like Eggman now, and I can't wait to see him look that way in the next movie. Yeah, this movie's made a lot of money, so of course there's going to be another movie. And of course, we get like I guess a surprise, honestly. If you're like a huge Sonic fan, it's not really much of a surprise. I mean, you were expecting that. The moment like this movie came out, you were expecting that was going to happen. So in the mid-credits scenes, we see another portal happen in the forest of, the Earth. And guess what? Who pops out? Tails! Yeah, Tails. Yeah, I guess I do like how he looks. Like, he definitely looks like the character, but was it really that much of a surprise? I mean, were we not expecting Tails to appear in the Sonic movie? I mean, he's one of the most recognizable sidekicks in history, so seriously, was people not expecting Tails? Like, I was expecting Tails the moment this movie came out, and it was even leaked online. I honestly don't care. Like, it's Tails. He's going to be in the next movie. It's pretty obvious. But I guess a lot of people really must have reacted to this, because if you've seen, like, YouTube videos of people reacting to Tails' appearance, a lot of people went nuts, and it's just crazy to think. But, yeah. I think that's mostly the spoilers of the film. So, once again, overall, I think it's a legitimately good movie. It's not for everybody, but if you want a good family film and you like video game characters, Sonic the Hedgehog, go see this movie. Yeah, so that's my overall thoughts. Roger G. Stars signing out, and I'll see you in the next video.